Okay, so Euphoria is over. Like, actually over. Not on a 4-year hiatus again, over. Not we're taking creative time, over. And after watching what this finale presents, I genuinely don't know how to feel about it. I've been staring at the ceiling for like an hour trying to figure out if what they did was brave or just cruel. And before we get into it, if you're new here, hi. I've been covering this whole season, episode by episode, so go check those out if you want the full context. But today we're talking about the finale. All of it. Every shocking moment, every dream sequence, every devastatingly quiet ending for characters we've spent years with. Okay, so let's talk about what the episode shows us. The episode picks up exactly where episode 7 left off, which if you watched last week you know was already a lot. Rue is in the middle of stealing from Wayne's stash, and Faye, who has been this kind of chaotic wildcard all season, suddenly screams and wakes Wayne up. Full betrayal moment. And what I love about this opening, weirdly, is how physical it is. Rue isn't giving a speech. She's not crying. She grabs a wrench, hits Wayne in the leg, punches Faye on the way out, and just runs. Pure survival instinct. No Rue voiceover, no slow motion, just chaos and adrenaline and her trying to get out alive. Except then Harley shows up, on a horse, lassos her, drags her across the ground, which is one of the most insane images this show has ever produced. But then G spots everything from a distance, intervenes, and helps Rue escape. And for a second, like genuinely just a second, you think, okay, she made it. She's gonna be okay. The episode wants you to think that, on purpose. Here's where it gets hard to talk about. The detail that changes everything is that Maddy tells Alamo that Rue has been working as a DEA informant. Maddy's motivations are complicated and probably deserve a discussion of their own, but the consequence is that Alamo now knows. Instead of confronting Rue directly, he hands her a bottle of Percocet and tells her it's for the pain. According to the episode's reveal, the pills have been laced with fentanyl. And the reason this hits differently is because Rue isn't trying to get high. She's not relapsing in a moment of weakness. She trusts someone who tells her the medication will help. That's it. That's the tragedy. Her biggest mistake isn't the robbery or being an informant. It's trusting the wrong person at exactly the wrong time. She experiences a dreamlike hallucination. The show leaves a lot of it open to interpretation, but it feels strangely peaceful, which somehow makes it even more heartbreaking. She falls asleep on Allie's couch, and she never wakes up. Allie discovers her the next morning and realizes what happened, and the performance in that scene is devastating because it isn't explosive. It's quiet, controlled. The kind of grief that leaves someone completely still. Okay, I need to stop here for a second because I've already seen people arguing that this ending feels like a betrayal, that Rue deserved a recovery arc. And honestly, I understand that reaction. We've spent years with this character. We've watched every setback, every attempt to rebuild herself, every moment of hope. Naturally, people wanted her to make it, but I also think that's part of what the show may have been trying to say. Euphoria never really guaranteed that Rue would be okay. From the very beginning, addiction wasn't presented as a story with a guaranteed redemption chapter. The series consistently emphasized uncertainty, relapse, survival, and circumstance. The tragedy here isn't simply what happens to Rue. It's how it happens. Not because she actively chooses self-destruction, but because someone exploits the trust she's trying to rebuild. That's a different kind of tragedy, a targeted one. And that's what makes it so difficult to watch. Which brings us to Ali. After discovering what happened, Ali goes after Alamo himself. What I respect about the way the episode handles this is that it never feels victorious. There's no celebration, no sense of triumph. Ali has spent years being one of the few stable forces in Rue's life. The person willing to tell her difficult truths without giving up on her. And now all of that ends with grief. Later, he visits the farmhouse from the season's opening chapter and tells the family there that Rue is in a better place. He prays that her memory becomes a blessing. And that's essentially where the story leaves us. Not with a flash forward. Not with a grand speech. Just with remembrance. Okay, let's run through the rest of the characters because there are a lot of loose ends. Nate's storyline appears to conclude in the previous episode, leaving Cassie completely shattered. Rather than explaining everything to Lexi, she simply says he disappeared, which says a lot about where she is emotionally. Cassie also leans further into her online content career and even talks about helping other creators build their platforms, which honestly feels very consistent with the direction her character has been heading. Jules gets only a brief moment, no dialogue, just emotion, and the absence of a final goodbye between her and Rue makes everything hit even harder. The closest thing to closure comes through the dream imagery, which quietly references their earliest days together. Lexi distances herself from Cassie and spends much of the finale processing grief in her own way. She's always been the observer of everyone else's stories, and now she's forced to confront another loss. Maddy appears to find some degree of relief after Alamo's downfall and begins moving forward with her life, though her overall arc still feels like it could have used more attention. And Fez only appears indirectly through Rue's vision, where she imagines a version of him finding freedom. Whether that's hope, memory, or wish fulfillment is left for viewers to decide. So yeah, years of storytelling, countless unforgettable moments. And if this really is the end, it's going to be one of the most talked about finales in recent memory. Because what I keep coming back to is how committed the story remains to its central themes. It isn't trying to make the audience comfortable. It's trying to make them feel something. To think about addiction, recovery, loss, circumstance, and how fragile survival can sometimes be. Rue Bennett became one of television's most unforgettable characters because she felt real. Flawed, complicated, frustrating, heartbreaking, and human. And whether you love this ending or hate it, it's impossible to ignore the impact it leaves behind. I don't know if this is the ending people wanted, but it's definitely an ending people will remember. Anyway, that's it for today. If you've been watching along with me this whole season, genuinely thank you. It's been a wild emotional ride covering these episodes week after week, and I really appreciate you being here for it. Like and subscribe if you're new, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did this ending work for you? Did Rue deserve something different? I'd love to hear what you think. I'll see you in the next one.